Tonight, the mother of twins behind an Inuit identity fraud is being sentenced today. We'll tell you how long she could be behind bars.
If we don't have third-party funding to say that, or we don't have base funding to say that that course will be offered again next year, then we may potentially just lose that student.
A post-secondary school in the Northwest Territories is facing an unknown future.
That's like a big challenge of doing this, is filming and practicing everything at the same time.
And we'll hear from a Métis woman from Saskatchewan on what it was like to be on the hit TV series Alone. Good evening, I'm Christian Ajkate. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. A Toronto woman who pleaded guilty to Inuit identity fraud earlier this year could face up to 2 years in prison. Karima Manji pleaded guilty to fraud over $5,000 earlier this year after she falsely claimed Inuit status for her twin daughters, Nadia and Amira Gill, in order to receive benefits. The Crown is asking for 18 months to 2 years in custody, while the defense is asking for 9 to 12 months. An Iqaluit judge told court some period of incarceration is necessary. The judge is expected to make a sentencing decision on Thursday morning. An early morning fire in Easterville, Manitoba has destroyed the community's nursing station. It is just the latest sad news for the northern community that has also experienced 3 homicides in the last 2 months, including the death of a 16-year-old girl on Friday. A 15-year-old boy has been charged with second-degree murder in that homicide. Chemawawan RCMP say when officers arrived on the scene, the building was engulfed in flames. No injuries were reported. RCMP say they have arrested a 20-year-old female for arson. In a statement to APTN News, Manitoba Kiwetinowi Okimakanak, or MKO, Grand Chief Garrison Setti says he's dismayed over the fire at the nursing station. In the past 2 months, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old girl, along with a 32-year-old woman, have been murdered in the community. Teenagers have been charged in all of the homicides. A new partnership to build a hydrogen production facility in BC is one step closer to becoming a reality. As APTN's Tina House explains, more and more First Nations are looking to green energy to boost their economies.
Nurturing the trees that shelter us, the trees that cradle our stories and carry our legacy across the waters.
Hydrogen production is the idea of using water to create energy, and Salish Elements, along with the Hatcliffe First Nation, want to create a 25-megawatt green hydrogen production facility that will change the game for green energy on First Nations territory. The end goal is to sell that energy to the North American transportation market. Reuben George is the chairman of Salish Elements.
So Hatcliffe is going to be the primary developer of hydrogen. We're strategically creating partnerships with First Nations from Vancouver up to Prince Rupert to have filling stations in strategic areas where people can fill up with their hydrogen for their vehicles. But also we want to work with remote villages.
For Chief Daryl Bob, he says his community is excited to be a part of this important project.
Rural communities don't get much opportunity to create change or even have a good business opportunity. Here's an opportunity I don't think our people can pass up, which would create a better future for our members.
Along with a revenue source for the First Nation, jobs and training will be a big part of it. Minister Josie Osborne says this partnership is good for BC.
Incredibly exciting to see Indigenous-led clean energy projects like this. We know that hydrogen is one of our key pathways to a net zero future. It's creating opportunities for communities and for people, fantastic jobs, and most importantly, helping us live that cleaner future that we need to leave for our children and grandchildren.
We have to evolve with the changes on Mother Earth, and this is our opportunity to be a small part of it.
And everyone's passionate about it, who we meet with and who we talk with, because we need this change. It's simple. we separate water, H2O, and when we put it back together, that's where the energy comes from. But when put it back together, that's water again. So there's no pollution. So it's a no-brainer, and this is the direction we need to go in.
Construction on the facility should begin within the next 8 months. Tina House, APTN National News, Vancouver.
A post-secondary institution in the Northwest Territories is facing hurdles, expanding into a polytechnic university. Instructors say along with a base funding, they want to see more continuing education programs geared towards professionals. But there are problems that is creating a bit of uncertainty. Our reporter Charlotte Moore-Jacobs has that story.
We'll be a team.
The task, plucking a duck as a team, but only using one hand. The outcome, teamwork, a quality these students from the Level 2 Northern Leadership Development Program have been mastering.
Can I tell a story?
Aurora College's continuing education department is a hybrid model. It attracts students from across the north who are already in leadership roles back home. But this program trains them to be even better. Liz Wright is chief of the Tetlin-Gwich'in Band in Fort McPherson.
Learning from the whole cohort, of course. Everybody has a different background and everybody has different jobs. And you know, you're not only learning from Hill and Mo and from the notebooks, the binders that they give you and their teachings, but you're also getting different people putting in the information that they shared with their leadership.
Part of this hybrid model, students are invited to bring their mentors. Charlie Villeneuve, a supervisor at a Caddy diamond mine, originally from Inuvik, is here with his biggest supporter, his grandma.
The strength, leadership, where I get a lot of my quality from, I could see it in her and so many others.
Hilary Leroy Gauthier says the students' employers pay their tuition and give them time off for the course.
You're leveling up, basically, your leadership skills. So using those concepts and the tools and the models that were introduced in Level 1, this is now, okay, how are you utilizing this in practice? And how are you sharing that wisdom with each other around that use?
But programs like this are at risk. Aurora College was planning to transition to a polytechnic university by May 2025, but they have to put those plans on hold, already cutting their bachelor's programs in social work and education. The issue, 60% of their funding comes from third parties and the rest from inconsistent research money. College President Dr. Glenda Vardy-Dell says the institution plans to hire full-time grant writers.
We want to be able to say to a student who is unsuccessful in a course this year, one-time offering of a course, we want to be able to say, well, you can come back next year and redo that course. If we don't have third-party funding to say that, or we don't have base funding to say that that course will be offered again next year, then we may potentially just lose that student.
Cheryl Martin of the Yellowknives Dene First Nation says she's graduating with confidence.
The reason why I took this is to work on me using my voice, speaking out, learning to be in leadership role, like maybe down the line in the future, know what I'm going into, know what I want. This program really helped about team building, trusting.
The program has seen over 150 Northern graduates earn a record of achievement since 2011. Charlotte Moore-Jacobs, APTN National News, Detta.
Members of the Muscadet First Nation near Prince Albert made their way through Regina last week, marching for a good cause. For a week and a half, the group walked to raise awareness about the dangers of drug use. CTV's Angela Stewart has more.
A 300-kilometer journey, all on foot, comes to an end in Regina. Members of the Muscadet First Nation began their walk over a week ago, starting in Prince Albert, some marching to show their support, others walking for a loved one.
My son, Vaughn Smoker, overdosed June 16, 2021. So it deeply impacts me.
Over a dozen people from the Muscadet First Nation took part in the week-long journey, walking to raise awareness surrounding crystal meth and fentanyl overdoses.
This happens everywhere, and a whole lot of people don't want to walk or talk. It was the brave ones that came out to share their hurt.
This is the second year the group has walked for the cause. They hope to see change when it comes to the disease of addiction.
What is really working? So that's what we need to find. Once we find that, maybe we can get more. We can get more to recovery.
Zastry says she would like to see the government offer a safe space for individuals to go who may be addicted. The government says it has an action plan for mental health and addictions and is transitioning to a recovery-oriented system of care.
We're seeing that with our target of 500 recovery beds, intensive recovery beds in the province, and we need to increase our access into that system.
We need to bring back the supplies, harm reduction. They took them away, and now there's risks of infections.
The group says they're committed to raising awareness on the issue and plan to continue annual walks in the future. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Regina.
We need to take a quick break, but when we return, what would you do for $500,000? For one Métis woman from Cumberland House, she's braving the elements in the hit TV series Alone.
If you have the right skills and you also go out there with an open heart.
Welcome back. Being alone in the woods may sound scary to some, but for one Saskatchewan resident, it gave her a chance to test out the skills she grew up with. She is a Métis woman from Cumberland House who is facing the wilderness for a chance at $500,000 on season 11 of the hit TV show Alone. Video journalist Rachel May caught up with her and brings us this story.
I grew up on a hunting and fishing lodge here in the Delta, so I have a lot of experience growing up, living, and being a guide.
Michaela Carrier is no stranger to the outdoors. She runs an adventure business, guiding explorations of the Saskatchewan River Delta. Carrier is the first Métis woman to appear on Alone, where contestants see who can survive the longest in the wilderness. Last August, 10 contestants went north to the Arctic Circle near Inuit, Northwest Territories, to test their ability to live off the land completely alone. Carrier said there were challenges. This was a new environment for her.
So I was really surprised when I went way up north to the Arctic Circle, and it was quite cloudy at times, and also we're so close to the ocean, and it was getting darker every night, so there was a change in the atmosphere for sure.
Throughout her journey on the show, Carrier says it was her lifelong connection to the land and the creator that fueled her during the competition. The evening before a helicopter dropped the contestants off in their survival location, they met with elders from the area for a ceremony and to learn about the environment.
And that was an amazing thing that even the elders said to me. They said, our land will take care of you. And that's what happens out there if you have the right skills and you also go out there with an open heart.
For those hoping to be a future contestant, Carrier says you'll have to learn how to use a camera.
Because that's like a big challenge of doing this, is filming and practicing everything at the same time. So that's making your fires, your shelters, bow hunting, fishing. Make sure you practice all those skills and get out there.
Carrier applied online. She encourages other Indigenous people to do the same for more representation in the series. New episodes of Alone air every Thursday on the History Channel at 9:30 Eastern Time until the season finale on August 29th, where the $500,000 winner will be crowned. Rachel May, APTN National News, Saskatoon.
National Indigenous Peoples Day is celebrated in many different ways. Among the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia, June 21st is known as Freedom Day, the day children left the Shubenacadie Residential School for summer vacation. Angel Moore brings us this story.
This is a traditional Mi'kmaq game called Waltez. Each player flips the 6 disc-shaped dice. All 6 facing up is worth 5 points. Waltez was once banned by the church. Playing the game is part of the festivities at this year's annual Freedom Day at Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia. But the biggest part of the Freedom Day is the walk. Benjamin Lafford is from the Eskazoni First Nation. He attends every year.
It's important to me to take this walk for my children and my grandchildren. It's important for me to raise the awareness for our survivors as the Indian residential school survivors.
This is the 4th annual Freedom Day. It was the day the children left the Shubenacadie Residential School for the summer. Cassidy Gallant is one of the volunteers to organize this year's event. She is from the Elsipogtog First Nation in New Brunswick. Gallant walks for her great-grandmother.
It felt right. It felt where I was supposed to be. This is where my, without my great-grandmother, I wouldn't be here. And I personally like to celebrate this day in walking home for her and walking the path that she did and being able to say that I'm here for her.
Every year, survivors, families, and supporters retrace the steps taken by the children over 1 kilometer from the site of the residential school to the train station, where they would wait for the train to take home. The Shubenacadie Residential School was the only school for the Atlantic region. Over 1,000 children attended from 1930 to 1967. Joey Brooks also helped organize the event.
So when we do this, this is in a commemoration to all the survivors that were at the school, that had passed away over the time, and to raise continual awareness that we want the Indigenous children to be returned home.
For school survivor Doreen Bernard, it's about education.
Wherever events are taking place, it's an honor to the Indigenous people, and whether they focus on the survivors, like we do here, or they have Mawiomi or celebrate our culture in any way, it's really important to educate people about who we are. Yes.
About 200 people attended Freedom Day, and Lafford says he will be at next year's event.
Oh, I feel real good. That's like a freedom. It's freedom for me. Nobody had to tell me to go back to residential school. Yeah, nobody don't tell me what to do anymore.
Angel Moore, APTN, Shubenacadie, Nova Scotia.
We have more National Indigenous Peoples Day coverage when we're back in less than 3 minutes. Stick around. Welcome back. It's time now for our photo of the day. National Indigenous Peoples Day was last Friday, June 21st, and Astra Robinson enjoyed her day at the Forks, taking in some of the many festivities. Thanks for sharing, Astra. If you were out celebrating on June 21st, we want to see it. Send those pictures to share at aptn.ca. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Over on the East Coast, Halifax 21, Charlottetown 19. Kuujjuaq 13, La Grande River 20. Sunny in St. Jovite 26, Sigouin 26 as well. Sarnia 29, Peterborough 25. Wawa 17, Big Trout Lake 13. Puckatawagan 18, God's Lake 15. Gimli 19, Dauphin 19 as well. Regina 21, Saskatoon 22. Orange 20, Uranium City 20 as well. Northern Alberta, high level 23, Peace River 19. Lethbridge 25, Edmonton 22 and rain there. Tofino 16, Kamloops rain there as well 27. Dees Lake 19, Smithers 21. Whitehorse 24, Rock River 21 as well. Yellowknife 22, Norman Wells 25. Colville Lake 20, Sax Harbor 12. Baker Lake 11, Chesterfield 12. Iqaluit 4, Igloolik 4 as well. Winnipeg's French Métis community got together for music, games, and community building on National Indigenous Peoples Day Friday. Located in the city's French neighborhood of St. Boniface, the event called Tutasam welcomed all ages to see performances by Francophone, Métis, and First Nations musicians. Winston Watney performed along with MJ Dondenu on bass and Mitchell McCoons on drum. 3 generations of Indigenous performers playing in sync at Tutasam, which means all together in Michif. A Métis sash fit for a woolly mammoth adorned the stage while children tried to hit a bullseye with new friends. Festival du Voyageur spearheaded the event. Their lively Indigenous Initiatives coordinator, Barney Morin, says Tutasam honors the community's French and Métis roots.
Métis still are always trying to find their place in society, and they're always trying to find their voice and where they can stand and be proud of themselves. So it's my honor to work with Festival and with Union and with other groups so that we can have a place where French Métis people feel accepted and feel like they're valorisé in French. You know, to feel like they belong to something certain. Because for a lot of people like myself, our Métisness involves growing up French. To me, it's in tandem with each other. My whole family's French, and the Métis side is just as French. And so, celebrating our culture in Métis gives us that space to célébrer ensemble.
I love that shirt. To Saskatchewan now, where an app has been created providing users with a tour of a Regina park back when buffalo roamed the plains freely across the plains. CTV's Haley Mandrick has more.
Buffalo Futurism is an app created to share stories about the significance of the buffalo through augmented reality. And it is set in Regina's Mamawe-Miatatin Park.
You know, you have these boulders here, but, you know, people walk by and they don't necessarily know what that is or what it means. But then when you have something a little flashier, you know, it gets people's attention and it gets kids' attention.
The app allows users to take a tour through a futuristic version of the park while listening to stories about the importance of Tatonga, which means buffalo.
I'd say it makes me feel very excited and happy to be able to see like stories being shared now, because again, when I was younger, I didn't see any of this stuff.
For Joe Lee, Big Eagle Kekwedewe, it's a way to share important history as to why Regina was originally named Pile of Bones.
It has this uncomfortable history of representing, you know, the truthful part of what happened here when the buffalo were killed off for the sake of settlement.
Big Eagle Kekwedewe narrates the stories as people explore the park. She says it's a new and unique tool for truth and reconciliation.
And so when we talk about indigenization, how do we bring back the buffalo into a city? And right now it's about, you know, figuratively, it's about stories, it's about food sovereignty, you know, and it's about, you know, sharing these stories through augmented reality.
The app is curated specifically to Mamawe-Miatatin Park. It's free to download, so anyone with a smart device is welcome to take a tour through the lens of Buffalo Futurism. Hallie Mandrick, CTV News, Regina.
And that's your evening APTN National Newscast for this Monday, June 24th. We hope you all have a fun evening rooting for the Edmonton Oilers in Game 7 against the Florida Panthers. Go Oilers, go! From everyone here in our HQ in Winnipeg and from our reporters across the country, hi miigwech masicho. Thank you for watching.